The 2020 Summer Olympics, officially the Games of the 32nd Olympiad, and also known as Tokyo 2020, is an upcoming international multi-sport event scheduled to be held from the 23rd of July to the 8th of August 2021 in Tokyo, Japan, originally due to take place from the 24th of July to the 9th of August 2020. The event was postponed in March 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite being rescheduled for 2021, the event retains the Tokyo 2020 name for marketing and branding purposes. This is the first time that the Olympic Games have been postponed and rescheduled. Rather than cancelled, Tokyo was selected as the host city during the 125th IOC session in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on the 7th of September 2013. The 2020 Games will mark the second time that Japan, and specifically Tokyo, has hosted the Summer Olympic Games, the first being in 1964, making it the first city in Asia to host the Summer Olympics twice. Overall, these will be the fourth Olympic Games to be held in Japan, which also hosted the Winter Olympics in 1972 and 1998. The 2020 Games will also be the second of three consecutive Olympics to be held in East Asia, the first being in Pyeongchang County, South Korea in 2018, and the next in Beijing, China in 2022. The 2020 Games will see the introduction of new competitions including 3x3 basketball, freestyle BMX, and Madison cycling, as well as further mixed events, under new IOC policies, which allow the host organizing committee to add new sports to the Olympic program to augment the permanent core events. These games will see karate, sport climbing, surfing, and skateboarding make their Olympic debuts, as well as the return of baseball and softball for the first time since 2008. The three candidate cities were Tokyo, Istanbul, and Madrid. The applicant cities of Baku and Doha were not promoted to candidate status. A bid from Rome was withdrawn. The IOC voted to select the host city of the 2020 Summer Olympics on the 7th of September 2013. At the 125th IOC session in Buenos Aires, Argentina, using an exhaustive ballot system, none of the candidate cities won more than 50% of the votes in the first round. Madrid and Istanbul were tied for second place, so a runoff vote was held to determine which of the two cities would be eliminated. The final vote was a head-to-head contest between Tokyo and Istanbul. Tokyo was selected by 60 votes to 36, gaining at least the 49 votes required for a majority. In January 2020, concerns were raised about the potential impact of the COVID-19 outbreak on athletes and visitors to the Olympic Games. Tokyo organizers insisted they were monitoring the spread of the disease to minimize its effects on preparations for the Olympics. Unlike the case for Zika virus during the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, SARS-CoV-2 can be transmitted directly between humans, posing tougher challenges for the organizers to counteract the infectious disease and host a safe and secure event. Also, unlike the case for H1N1, swine flu, during the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, COVID-19 has a higher fatality rate, and there was no effective vaccine prior to December 2020. In a February 2020 interview with City AM, Conservative London mayoral candidate Sean Bailey argued that London would be able to host the Olympic Games at the former 2012 Olympic venues should the Games need to be moved because of the coronavirus outbreak. Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike criticized Bailey's comment as inappropriate. In early 2021, officials in the U.S. state of Florida offered to host the delayed games in their state. Concerns about the pandemic began to affect qualifying events in early 2020. Some that were due to take place in February were moved to alternative locations to address concerns about traveling to the affected areas, particularly China. For example, the women's basketball qualification was played in Belgrade, Serbia, instead of Foshan, China. The boxing qualification tournament was originally planned to be held in Wuhan, China, the center of the coronavirus outbreak, from 3 to the 14th of February, but instead took place in Amman, Jordan, at the beginning of March. The third round of the women's football qualification tournament was also affected, as the group matches originally scheduled to be held in China were moved to Australia. The European boxing qualification was to be held in London before it was suspended and is set to resume in June 2021. Qualifying events that were due to take place in March or April 2020 began to be postponed until later in the year as part of a wider suspension of international sporting competitions in response to the pandemic. A multitude of Olympic sports were affected, including archery, baseball, cycling, handball, judo, rowing, sailing, volleyball, and water polo. Mandatory doping tests were being severely restricted by the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020. European anti-doping organizations raised concerns that blood and urine tests could not be performed, and that mobilizing the staff necessary to